Hi, welcome to my September wrap-up. I'm going to start off with the books I didn't finish, and then I'm going to talk about the books I read in order of least favourite to most favourite. So obviously I DNF books that I'm not particularly enjoying, so the books that I do end up finishing usually have about a 3-star rating or higher. This month could be described as I read a lot of books that I don't really get. This month I read a total of 6 books and I DNF'd 2, so let's get started. So the first book I DNF'd was Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff. Now, I didn't really get on with this book. It's about a marriage, and the first half of the book is from his perspective, the second half is from hers. I got basically halfway. I struggled to believe that you could be with someone so self-absorbed and narcissistic that they think everything is wonderful. I couldn't. I was just like, nah, not feeling it. I can't stand this character, and not in a like, oh, I want to read more. It was really like, no. So the second book I DNF'd is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Manson. I started reading this book and was getting major The Minimalist vibes. Now about a year or two ago, I went on a massive minimalist binge along with everyone else in the universe who read Marie Kondo's book, and I consumed it like it was nobody's business. I just one of the podcasts that I listened to quite a bit was by The Minimalists. I'll link it down below. And this book I kind of felt was just basically that rephrased with more swear words, and I have no real interest in listening to more. I've done it. I don't really think that there's anything more that this book could add, so I was just like, nope, there are too many books in this world to bother hanging around for that little sentence nugget. So onto the books I actually did read. So the first book I gave 3 stars to was The Husband's Stitch by Carman Machado. It's actually a short story. It's available online. I'll put the link down below. This story was actually a finalist for the Nebula Award in 2015. It tells the story of a relationship. It looks at themes of ownership. When you are in a relationship with someone else, how much of you do you have to share? How much of it can you keep secret? The story itself plays with a lot of US campfire story tropes, and the reason why I gave this one 3 stars was because I couldn't really connect with the story in a way that I would have if I was more familiar with all the tropes that it was playing on. I mean, I thought the concept of privacy and what is owed in relationship really interesting, but all the other little goodies kind of flew over my head a little bit because I'm just not familiar with American culture. I don't get it. I don't get it sometimes, and I'm cool with that. That's fine. There are some books that can transcend cultural differences, and there are some books that I'm just like, I'm clearly not the target audience, and that is okay. The next book I gave 3 stars to was Bernadette is Missing by Semple. This story is about a family told from the perspective of the daughter, and her mother goes missing. We're not quite sure what's happened or what's going on, so the daughter takes upon herself to collect all the documents so that she can find her mother. So the book is made up of transcripts, of notes, of emails, of invoices, all this kind of stuff, and it paints the picture of what's going on and the events leading up to the mum disappearing. The book itself was a satire, but again, a lot of it just kind of went over my head because I'm not familiar with the stereotypes that it's portraying. There was just obviously this whole section of goodness of this book that I just couldn't access. There was stuff about this book that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the mum politics, how funny suburban life can be. But the things I wasn't too keen about was the way that it portrays mental health. It didn't really address the underlying issues. The next book is a 3.5 star. It is called The Art of Asking by Amanda Palmer. It's been around, and I finally got around to picking it up. It was alright. It was good. The way this book was marketed to me was more along the self-help sort of lines, whereas it's really more of like an autobiography. I listened to the audiobook, and it was really interesting how she inserted some songs in between the words and chapters and stuff, and you really get an understanding of like how her life inspired the music, and seeing that link so explicitly was really interesting, so I quite enjoyed that. It kind of felt to me like she had a really good idea that was extended, but I don't think she had enough to make a complete book, so there seemed to be a lot of filler from my opinion. The next book that's 3.5 stars is Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. This book is about an old guy who's dying, and he's got a very young son, and he is writing this letter to his son so that when his son gets older he can read about his father and get to know his father. Again, this book was fine. There were moments of beautiful writing, moments of interesting content, but again it was very like America. Yeah, I could appreciate it on the basic level, but there was just more of it that I just couldn't access. But overall I was kind of just like, The book itself focuses heavily on religion and theology and philosophy, and I found those parts interesting, but I'm not particularly religious, so I was just like, I can appreciate it on that intellectual level, but beyond that I was just like, meh. So it was set in a time, I'm just gonna drink my tea before it gets too cold. By the way, tea, not a great thing to drink while we're talking, because first of all it's got caffeine in it, which dries you out, and secondly it's got milk, which is not great for mucosal stuff. Anyway, I've said my bit. So Gilead, letter to his son, it's tragic, it's beautiful, it's lovely, but I didn't really like how self-absorbed he was. The character just doesn't seem to acknowledge / see the problems in the world. Like, for example, he seems pretty naive about the fact that he's married someone much younger than himself and has a kid, and maybe that might be spoken about negatively in his community. It didn't really do it for me. It was fine, it was beautiful and all that jazz, but yeah, just couldn't really connect to the character, I guess, and his history, motivations, etc. The next book I read was The Crimson Petal in the White by Michel Faber. I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It was really good, except for the ending. You've been with this character for like the whole time. You followed like a good, 800 pages of their life, and then it's just like boom, and you're like, sorry, what? That ending? That like knocked 1 star off this book for me, because I was so mad. But at the same time, I was just like, ooh, an unsatisfying ending. I see what you did there. So this book follows the story of Sugar. She's a prostitute working in the late 1800s. Yeah, late 1800s, and her journey from being in a house, a brothel thing, and watching her kind of rise through class, but not, because it's Britain and they're very conservative. What I really loved about this story was the fact that the narrator addresses you personally. I just love that. I just eat that up. It's so good. And because I listened to this one on audiobook, it was like, not only is someone reading you a story awesome, someone is like addressing you in your ears, like, it was really good. It worked really well. I quite enjoyed it. Faber did a top job on setting, on characters, on plot development, although a little bit patchy in the middle there, Faber. What were you thinking there? Regardless, I really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend, if you're not afraid of a bit of smut, if you're interested in historical fiction. I kind of felt like this book was so well researched on that end. Like, you could smell England. I really loved that. Oh yeah, and like the epic Jane Eyre vibes. Oh, just so good. So good. If you're looking for like companion reads, can highly recommend reading Michel Faber's Crimson Petal and the White, and Sarah Moss's Bodies of Light. They cover like similar sort of time period, similar sort of themes, but one of them is from the prostitute side and one of them is from the kind of religious, we're gonna save all the prostitutes thing. It's just very interesting, and there's like some really archaic medicine that makes you cringe in this one, and then there's like goodness of medicine being better in this one. So they're like, they fit together really nicely, and they give you a bit of closure on some things that you just don't get. So can recommend that. The last book I want to talk about is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. This is his debut novel from forever ago. Brandon Sanderson does this thing where he has like epic and complex magic systems that really make it hard to summarize. So in this world, the magic doesn't work anymore, and the people who were magical are now cursed. Our 2 main characters, the kick-ass girl who comes from another country, and the main prince dude who turns out to be cursed, They work together to change the political landscape. I'm a bit of a Brandon Sanderson fangirl. I really love his complex magical systems. I really love how he has just little nuggets of like goodness that pay off later on. I love it. Just mind blown how he manages to weave all his worlds together like that. It's just very impressive. And he's one of the few authors that I don't see the twists and turns coming. And I also really appreciate, maybe it's just me, but that you as the reader understand something very important, and then it's not long afterwards that the character understands it too, which I really appreciate, because in my opinion there's nothing worse than reading a book and doing the effective like look behind you. It just drives me insane, you know, and you can't change anything. It just annoys me. So I really appreciate that the characters are as cluey as the reader. The only downsides I have to say to this is like, you can tell it's his first book. He's still kind of like trying to work out all his ideas and his themes, and he's still trying to work out like what to focus on, and there's like a sprinkling of everything in there, as opposed to maybe focusing on less things. He's the kind of author that I really like other people to read, because it's just like, see, you can have kick-ass girls in a society where there are dickheads. The two can coexist. Do it right. I'm looking at you, Patrick Rothfuss. Looking at you. So those were all the books that I read this month. I read the 2 books I most enjoyed first in the month, and it's kind of just went a bit downhill from there. That's what happens when you read your favourite author and then you read something that's not your favourite author. That's fine. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to pick up next. Maybe... I saw some people online reading Dune, and I've got that book on my shelves, so maybe I might pick that one up next. We'll see how we're feeling. I do like me some sci-fi. What are you guys reading? What should I pick up next? I'm kind of a bit of a mood reader, so hit me with your suggestions. I am open to everything. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you like these books. Have you read them? Let me know your thoughts and feelings below, because I need to talk to you about some of these books. And also, have you read some of these books that I was like, meh, and they were like your favorite? Can you help me work out what I'm missing? Because I'm clearly missing something, because everyone loves these books, and I'm just like, was alright, I guess. So yeah, let me know your feelings on those books down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Oh man, turns out words are hard.
Words are hard. This is why I try and avoid using them.
Yeah.
Except when I use them all the time.
I just wish like...
I'm not very successful.
I just want to be like more eloquent, and it's just like, meh.
Oh, that's a tough gig.
Meh. It sounded so good in my head. Why won't it come out good?
I just want to be better at everything.
I just want to be best. Yeah. Turns out it's difficult.
It'd be great if I was not shit. You know
just
what I mean?
one small request. Can it not be shit? Thank you very much. that would be grand.
Brain's just like, nah.
And Brain's just like, boom. I'm just like, well, you held in as long as you could. You stuck around, and then you didn't.
Well, you did your worst. At least you did your worst.
At least you did the bare minimum. Thanks, Brain.